like to welcome everybody. This is pretty exciting. So I'm Joanne Corbet, and I'm one of the principals of Esprit Dieu training program for psychotherapists and counselors, and we have offices both in Toronto and the Niagara region. And I'm very, very, very lucky tonight to be your moderator for this amazing event. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague and the other principal of Esprit Dieu program, Dr. Barbara Doer, who will be introducing our honored guest.
Welcome to this historic event. Every year, Esprit Dieu invites a guest speaker who will inspire both our students and the public with new perspectives in order to assist us in learning how to become healers with our clients and healers in life. Jean Vanier is a healer in life and a man of practical action. Who gives life to the spirit of mentoring by living and teaching the qualities of faith and hope in community with others. Jean Vanier is founder of l'Arche, an international organization that creates communities where people with developmental disabilities and those that assist them share living. Jean Vanier presently resides in Trolleybroye, France. Since the original l'Arche community in France, 130 communities have been founded throughout the world. The goal of l'Arche is to bring together people with developmental disabilities and those that assist them to live and work and create homes together while recognizing each other's unique value and gifts. In 1972, Jean Vanier co-founded Faith and Light Communities with Marie-Hélène Mathieu, groups composed of people with developmental disabilities, along with their family and friends, groups that meet on a regular basis to discuss faith, difficulties, and pray together. Today, there are over 1,400 Faith and Light communities throughout the world. Jean Vanier has authored many books. I have read many of his books. Two that have impacted me a great deal were the books Becoming Human and a much earlier book titled Tears for Silence. Some of you may have read that beautiful little book. Jean Vanier has received many awards and honors. Two examples are the Companion of the Order of Canada and the Paul VI International Prize. Jean Vanier currently counsels, encourages, and accompanies people who come to live in l'Arche to work with those with developmental disabilities. He also encourages projects for new communities, as well as lectures and conducts retreats. I leave you with a quote from Pope John Paul II, who stated that, over the past 30 years, l'Arche has become a dynamic and providential sign of the civilization of love. Esprit Dieu invites you all today to join with us to extend this civilization of love even further to all our human family. As counselors and psychodynamic workers, we've much to learn from Jean Vanier, as do we all. The title of today's topic is Healing and Inner Liberation. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Jean Vanier.
Good evening. It's good to be here. It's good to be here in Toronto. Good to be invited by friends of Esprit Dieu to to live in the Spirit. We're in a very broken world, and I don't have to tell you. And today, maybe more than ever, our countries are very fearful. And we don't quite know what can happen. There is fear all over the place. So I want to begin talking about fear, because we're going to have to talk about the healing, not the healing of fear. We'll always be frightened. But it's a question of not being controlled by fear, not being motivated by fear, not being subdued by fear. Fear, nakedness, hiding. And nakedness is our fundamental fragility, poverty, vulnerability, which we try to hide, particularly in a society that's very competitive. We mustn't reveal our vulnerability and our fragility. And there's almost what I'd call a metaphysical fragility, poverty, which is our reality of death, of suffering, and we're frightened of being diminished. Diminishment. Fear maybe of old age, fear of death. But then there's a more social or relational element of fear. Being pushed down, not recognized, not having a place, not wanted, rejected. And then there's a third, but one could certainly find more, but is a fear which is linked to the other two, but it's fear of chaos, fear of having no meaning to life, feeling of a very fundamental anguish which springs up or creates loneliness. So diminishment, rejection, and that terrible loneliness and meaninglessness of life. And of course, when one is in some ways subdued or controlled by fear, we have to find ways out. I have to prove that I am someone. Whatever the way I use, I have to prove that I am. I need to be admired. I need to be told that I'm great. So we create walls around our hearts in a competitive world where I have to prove that I am better than you. I have to go up the ladder. Always go up the ladder to have more, to be more power, more money, more knowledge, more admiration. And what we're most frightened of is to feel that we don't exist, that we're no good, and that we're pushed down. So a desire to go up the ladder and this terrible fear of being pushed down. We need to feel secure, so we build walls around groups, around religions, around ethnic or cultural reality. Our group is the best. So in that desire to be, there's this desire of the elitism. My God is the best God. My culture is the best culture. And on the other side, this need to be successful, to be powerful. As Barbara was saying, I've been living now for nearly 43 years with people who are fragile, sometimes very weak, always vulnerable. And what I'm going to try to share with you is something which maybe is difficult to transmit and maybe difficult to accept. That we are healed by those we reject. And if you want to understand something about the mechanisms of a society, listen to those who have been the most rejected. And they will tell you something about the mechanisms of rejection, and they will tell you something about being human.